Now we are live here in New York.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for sharing that insight. Now we move on. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has reiterated his plan to quit Ukraine's highest office once the war is over, and he has also stated that he may call for elections to be held if an extended ceasefire lasting 3 to 6 months is agreed upon. These comments come in as the backdrop of Moscow's relentless attacks on the Ukrainian president, calling him an illegitimate leader and refusing to engage with him for peace talks. The comments also raise speculation on the future of the conflict and have sparked intense discussion across social media about the President Zelenskyy's motivations. Now, for this discussion, we are joined by guest Andrew Latham. He's a professor of international relations, joins us live from Minneapolis. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, this is very surprising as Zelenskyy says this. What does this timing suggest? What do you think? Why did he choose to say these kind of things now? And what are the implications of his statement about stepping down and calling for potential elections? Yes.
Yeah, it's a complicated situation. On the one hand, he's got the bully pulpit at the moment. I mean, all eyes are focused on. So if he's going to say anything about his future against the backdrop of the future of the Ukraine-Russian war, this would be a good opportunity. There's also some questions about his popularity at home. The war has not gone well, and his initially really robust popularity on the home front has given way to a lot of criticism, a lot of concern, a lot of reservations about his leadership. So there's that. If an election were held tomorrow, depending on who was up against him, would he win? That's an open question, and I'm sure he has a better sense. And this would seem to suggest that he thinks that he might not be able to win. Then there are some constitutional questions. The Ukrainian constitution forbids elections in times of war. And what would constitute the end of this war? A temporary ceasefire? Would that be sufficient? Would it have to be a permanent peace, which addressed the root issues? So it's not clear to me when this war would actually end. And if this is a forever war, then I suppose President Zelenskyy could hang on forever. So those are some of the issues. I think given President Trump's recent comments, there might be some renewed not enthusiasm, but optimism on the part of Ukrainians that perhaps it's still possible to turn this war around, a war which is not going well for Ukraine on the battlefield or diplomatically. So those are some of the moving parts.
And
Sorry,
Professor, so how has President Zelenskyy's leadership been received by the local community, and is he still popular? Is he very popular, or is he not? And how is his popularity being affected by this war?
Yes, well, he's still popular in times of war. That tends to be the case. The head of state, the head of government tends to be popular, but he's far less popular than he once was, especially with certain constituencies. The casualty rates are enormous. The out-migration rates, the refugee asylum seeker rates are enormous. The quality of life is obviously in times of war terrible. The Russians have doubled down on this, long-range strikes against infrastructure, but also hitting a lot of civilian targets. And no end in sight, apparently, especially to the extent that President Zelenskyy keeps going on about recovering all of the lost territory. To the extent that we can trust polling data at times of war in places like Ukraine, it seems that most Ukrainians now are willing to trade off some territory for some kind of peace. And so he's at loggerheads with his people on that particular score. So I would say, overall, my assessment, my evaluation is, and it's
Yes.
supported by facts, is that his popularity has waned considerably.
Right. With that, I would like to thank